Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, A Pocket and a Bow. And today I am cutting a bodice, but I hope you can see it. It's pink, it's on tissue paper, but I wanted to show you something before, because if you remember in previous videos we talked about you having your master pattern. Now this is my master pattern, and it is this pattern is mine, and so I keep this pattern, and then whatever else I want to cut, I cut it from this pattern. So this is my front and this is the back. And of course, you date it, you also put your name, you state how many pieces you need to cut, like in this case, cut one on fold. And if you need to add your seam allowance, you add that, include that on this as well. So in this one, all I have, the seam allowance is at the bottom. So right around, I would need to add seam allowance. But what I wanted to show you in today's video is another pattern that I will be cutting, but I cut it from this master pattern, okay? So I will put this aside and I'll show it to you. So this is the pattern that I've cut. That's it. And I wanted to have some tucks or pleats at the front. Remember, this is half of the front, right? This is half of the front. So these are going to go all the way around, and I'm going to be cutting this on fold, which is what I have here. I have folded the material. So this is the fold, and that's where I will be placing my pattern, right on the fold, so that when I cut it, it opens up to a half of my body pattern, which is a half of the back and the front together, which would be just the front pattern. And so because I wanted the tucks, I had to go ahead and put the tucks in the pattern. So this is the normal pattern. As you will see, that's the pattern. And in this pattern, because of the tucks, I am not including the dart, okay? So there is no dart in this one because of the tucks. So as you can see, this is where the pattern ends, because I did not include the extra 1 inch that was taken in for the dart. All right, so now that I've removed the pins, I can go ahead to cut my my new pattern by extending. Okay, so now I have to extend the pattern so that it can include all of the tucks that I've added onto it. And so as you will see, there you go. So I will have to pin that in place, and once I have cut the pattern, then that pin is not working, then I would go ahead and replace the tucks. But now you can see that I have yes, this pin is not so good, but there you go. And all that I did when I was adding the pleats, I measured. I decided how I wanted the pleats to be, how big I wanted them to be, and I wanted each pleat to be 1 inch. So I added 1 inch, 2 inches, and it folds over onto the third part. So I added an extra 9 inches to my usual pattern. So now I can go ahead and I can cut this pattern out. Of course, I need to include seam allowance, because when I did the pattern, I did not have seam allowance added into it, as I pointed out, except for the bottom. So I have seam allowance at the bottom, but I will have to add seam allowance going all the way around the rest of the pattern. And so I'm going to cut it out. I can always cut right at the end because I have seam allowance at the end, and my seam allowance is 1/2 inch, and so I don't have to measure 1/2 inch all the way around. If you're just starting, then I would suggest that you do that, but I basically have an idea of what 1/2 inch looks like, and so we'll cut that into the pattern, and then we will stitch that in. And this is our front pattern, so the back pattern will remain the same because we're not making any changes to the back, right? We are only making the change to the front of the pattern. And this goes in a bit because of the pleats, but I'm just going to go straight, and then when we're done and it's folded, then that will take care of that section there. Okay, so now we have oh okay, it was just one piece that was cut, the bottom wasn't cut. Okay, all right, so now that we have this, I can go ahead and make my notches and then make my fold, and in the end it will be, I will have these pleats or folds on my outfit, right? And it will look like that. And so I'm expecting the outfit to be very nice in the end. I have already cut my flare skirt. You know how much I love flare by now. So this is my flare skirt that I've cut, and it will be a dress. So I will add, I will join the bottom and the top together, and I will have a lovely dress. I will show you what the finished dress looks like. All right, until next time, bye. Okay, so I'm giving you an idea of how I do the folds or the pleats, and here I have marks on the cloth, and I have them marked in 1 inch. They are one inch apart, each mark, and I'm going to take the first mark. So I fold the material at the first mark, and this is the second mark. I bend it in at the second mark, and then I place it on the third mark. So that is why I added an extra 9 inches or 3 inches per pleat. And I'll show you. So this is 1 inch on this side, 1 inch on this side, and then this last 1 inch. So that's why I added 3 extra inches per pleat. And once I put the pleat in, then I'll just pin it in place, and you'll have your ironing board ready, and you'll just take it to the ironing board and get that done, and you'll iron it in. Okay, so that's two. I'll show you again what I do. So this is the next mark. So I'm picking the material up from that mark. I fold it, I bend it under the second mark. Here's the second mark right here. It's not very bright because this is the right side of the material, but that's the second mark. This is the third one. So the first mark, I pick it up at the first mark, I bend it underneath on itself at the second mark, and I fold it over at the third line or the third mark. Okay, so now I have my 3 tucks on my my top, which of course again is going to be my blouse. And there you go. And once I take it to the ironing board and I iron it down, then this will be the front. And I'm thinking that I might not put a band on this, but I might put a bow at the front here. I'm not quite sure as yet, but you know, there has to be a pocket and a bow.